Hello again, my name's Gabe Zollner. I just read an interesting article on Breitbart. I'm going to attach the link, you're not going to have to look for it. The title is New Orleans Begins Removing Civil War Era Monuments. None of this, I believe, would have happened if it wasn't for what the previous governor of South Carolina did, Nikki Haley, when she took down the Confederate flag from their capital. I did videos on that. And now, what does she do? She's the United States ambassador to the United Nations. How nuts is that? New Orleans, Louisiana. The removal of Civil War era monuments is underway after almost 2 years of calls by Mayor Mitch Landrieu, happens to be a Democrat, to remove 4 that he deemed quote-unquote racist. The Liberty Place monument is the first of 4 monuments to come down under the directions of Landrieu and a Democratic majority city council, which voted in a 2015 to remove the monuments, according to Fox 8 News. Landrieu said the Liberty Place monument was, quote, the most offensive of the 4, end of quote, as crews of city workers began removing it in the middle of the night at around 1:30 a.m. Central Time. Also on the chopping block for removal is Robert E. Lee's monument at Lee Circle, the Jefferson Davis statue, and the monument near City Park dedicated to B.G.T. Beauregard. At the height of the heated debate over removing monuments in New Orleans, a poll by WWL-TV showed that 68% of New Orleans residents. Now, are you telling me that they polled every single New Orleans resident? See, this is the problem with the way the media reports, the way they do whatever they want to do. Totally insane. Now, again, it showed 68% of New Orleans residents opposed the removal or renaming of the monuments. Only 18% at the time supported removals. I thought we live in a country where the majority rules. I guess not. Not if you're in a democratic state, controlled by a democratic governor. While addressing the issue today, Landrieu reiterated to local media his claims that removing the monument was about celebrating quote-unquote diversity. You know, we never even heard that word before that crack-smoking Sunni Islamic extremist fudge-packing homosexual Muslim bastard Arab stole the Oval Office. Quote, the removal of these statues sends a clear message that New Orleans celebrates our diversity, Landrieu said. What is done. We will no longer allow the Confederacy to be put on a pedestal in the heart of our city. Back in 2015, Landrieu had the monument declared a public nuisance in order to push for the removal. Unrest in the city did not come until after Landrieu demanded they be removed, however. These elected officials are truly insane, especially if they follow the democratic ideology. History shouldn't be erased. We should learn from history. You might want to do a little bit of Googling and see why there was a Civil War. There was a Civil War for the same reason that the United States starts every war it's been in. Money. The South didn't want to keep paying taxes. The North couldn't afford to run a country without the tax revenue from the South. That's why we had a Civil War. It had squat to do with slavery. No different than why Pearl Harbor supposedly was the catalyst that started the Second World War. Do your own research. Take a look at why we went into Vietnam, Bay of Tonga. Take a look at why we went into Afghanistan, into Iraq. All started by our evil, twisted government. It's always about money. Don't you find it odd that the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, ran an oil conglomerate for many, many, many years? And now there's a push to go after Syria, who's swimming in oil. Think about it. I have. And so should you. Thanks for listening.